Coming up on Currently, Beth Milligan has the latest Garfield Township updates, plus roadwork updates and the future of South Airport Road. We'll also cover recent news about 2 local hotels, a waterfront expansion for the Delamar, and a reimagination for the Dexter in Elk Rapids. That's ahead on Currently. Welcome to Currently, where we discuss some of the top local stories directly from the journalists who are covering them. I'm your host, Christal Frost, and this podcast was recorded on Thursday, May 28th. The Tigers are 22-34, tied for last in the AL Central. Support for Currently comes from West Shore Bank. When you choose West Shore Bank, you're not just choosing a bank, you're choosing a partner committed to the well-being of our community, and you can visit them today on 8th Street or at westshorebank.com. Beth, you were typing away feverishly because the world of news never stops.
It never stops. It just keeps rolling and rolling. And now we're getting into summer. And things getting busy.
And so many conversations about road work. I swear, yes. I feel like every time I'm anywhere, whether I'm at a restaurant or I'm grabbing a coffee or whatever I'm doing, everyone has the same look of like, How was it? How was your drive in?
I know, even driving today to the studio, my partner and I were saying in the car, like, oh yeah, we got to start budgeting more time now. Like the summer traffic is here on a mission. We've got the tractors and, God bless them. They're doing great agricultural work, but you do have to sort of budget for getting stuck behind them on Center Road for a period of time.
You know what? When you're behind a looky-loo, you got a looky too.
Yeah. It's true. Just give yourself a little time. But that might be like maybe the best place to start.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of key kind of road updates happening.
Yes.
So, I'll just mention a few quick kind of like rapid fire updates. First of all, the Hartman US 31 light activated today, Thursday, as we were recording. So that is active now out on 31.
So everybody stop complaining.
I will say, it's funny. There was an accident at that intersection this morning, even before they turned the light on. So it's definitely been needed. The traffic backups on Hartman have been really severe.
Yeah.
People are losing their patience out there. So that is good.
I do get it.
That light is on. Now it's activated. So hopefully that will alleviate some of the Hartman issues. There are crews on the scene on Beitner today.
Saw that.
Yeah, some video footage out there on social media, starting to pull the collapsed culverts out of the river there. So that work is happening. There's work happening starting today. The Road Commission has been really great about sharing these updates with their video on social media. Also at Brown Bridge, working to make repairs there. So that's good. So those are all important ones.
Yeah, I do want to say something about the Road Commission. I'm really impressed at how they're handling all of this. Even with getting the installation of the light at Hartman and 31, it's not something you can just be like, let's put in a light today. There's a lot of process to it.
Yeah, that's a really good point to bring up because I've seen a lot of comments about that, about why they were, quote unquote, dragging their feet.
Yeah.
And they had to manufacture that light, which was quite complex. They've spent a lot of staff time putting that light together. Like we just don't have like lights like that sitting around in a box waiting to be unpacked. They had to manufacture the light. And then it's also very complex electrically to install a new light intersection like that. And so, it wasn't just the Road Commission. There was also delays with consumers being able to get the electricity up there. So they were working very feverishly on it. It's the same thing with Beitner. When people say just throw up a bridge, that's not how that works, especially when you have a waterway involved. You have to get Eagle and permits, and you have to pull all the old culverts out. There's a lot of debris in the river. So it is really complex. And I think my main takeaway is covering these organizations, I do see a little behind the scenes. They are working tirelessly.
Yes.
They have been since April, since the flooding. So everybody just have a little grace.
Yeah.
People are doing their best.
Yep.
It was a lot of devastation that we had to get through.
Yeah.
And now we're making some progress.
Yes, and, be nice.
Be nice. The other one I was going to quick mention, because there'll be a change starting on Tuesday, June 2nd, so coming up this next week, we're getting into the next phase of the interlocking work.
Wow, already?
Yeah, so Elmer's has been really cranking out there. So during this next phase, which will start next week and go through July, they'll now be rebuilding the south side of US 31, including some of the roundabout area, which has already been under construction. construction. So southbound US 31 traffic will be maintained on 31. Northbound will be using all the detours out there, Gondar, Riley, all those. The main thing to know during this next phase is that J. Maddie Parkway access to 31 is going to be closed for most of this part of construction. South Long Lake Road access to 31 will be open to southbound US 31 traffic, and then there will other detours. So I'll probably be running something by the time the show comes out tomorrow. I'll have a little brief in the ticker with the exact details, but just know that pattern is shifting next week.
Stop driving through my mom's neighborhood.
Which neighborhoods or which?
Right behind.
Yeah.
Right on South Long Lake Road, just off. So people, they've been cruising through.
Yeah.
To the point where actually I think there was a deputy that was there at one point that was stopping people because people were just like flying through the neighborhood. And you're like, 150 cars don't live here.
Yeah. Again, this is just like the theme of the day. Just be nice to people. Yeah. You're not the only person who's inconvenienced. Everyone's doing their best. And then hopefully we'll have a nice new road for a long time after that.
Yes.
The other kind of road related story was more of a full story in the ticker this week about South Airport Road.
Big news.
Yeah, because of course South Airport was one of the roads that we had impacted by the flooding as well. We almost lost the culverts there over by Logan's Landing, just like we did on Beitner, but they were able to save those in time. Thank goodness, because imagine some of us experienced it for the few days that it was out. It was intense, and it would be really intense right now in the summer if it was gone. But it did raise the issue, which has been a known issue for many years in the community, that section of South Airport Road is in a floodplain. Now that we are in a new era of climate change and weather, we are likely to keep seeing the kinds of events we saw in April, which makes that road even more vulnerable. And so the Road Commission is convening a steering committee of community leaders who will spend the next year determining a long-term solution for that corridor.
I want to say that the Road Commission, again, being very upfront about this and just saying, we've known this is a creeping disaster. Quote from your story, we know we need a fix. We need to engage as many people as we can and do it right now so that we don't have a situation where it does fail.
Yeah, and I think, part of the reason that it's been delayed for so many years is, one, the road, we haven't, had until April an event that seemed like it was eminently going to compromise South Airport. And it's a really expensive, again, just anytime you're working near water, it's really expensive. It has a lot of permitting and complexity to it. It's also a highly, highly used corridor. So, likely it's one that would have to be done one side of, the South Airport at a time. It takes a lot to coordinate, and it's expensive. And probably it's not a project that the Road Commission is going to be able to afford on its own, because we're not just talking about, it's not the condition of the road itself or like paving it. We need to get it out of the floodplain. So I will say one of the things that came up that I thought was an interesting example of what could happen there, the Road Commission discussed a design that had been looked at in the past, and they brought it forward again to say maybe this is the fix now, which is at the time, about 2010, that this plan was looked at, they were looking at how to get Vasa skiers to end the race in downtown Traverse City, but they were trying to figure out how to get them across South Airport.
Oh, right.
That was a challenge. So they came up with this idea called the Åkerström Overpass. Ted Åkerström is the co-founder of Vasa. So it was a little nod to him. But the idea would be like right where Art Van Furniture store used to be, now Gardner White, kind of at the top of the hill there at South Airport on the eastern side. That section kind of approach as you start to go down towards Logan's Landing would be lifted higher. So it would allow the boardman to surge through that area at a much higher rate. So the road would come up quite a bit. It would come up enough that not only could the river surge, but there could be an underpass that would allow wildlife and skiers, hikers, walkers to go under South Airport.
Nice.
So they would have a way to get across safely. Then it would come down by Logan's Landing quite low, probably only 4 to 5 feet there. That way the grading for the businesses, the Verizon side and the Logan's Landing side, it's even. People can still get in without having a crazy, grade right there. And then the hill would go back up again towards Goodwill. So that Åkerström Overpass is one that kind of came back out as something they'll be looking at. But this committee will have county commissioners on it, road commissioners, Garfield Township trustees this week picked 2 people to be on that board. They're also going to have a larger community advisory group that would be everything from probably like your TART trails, recreation, safety, transportation experts, funding experts for grants who will be advising this steering committee with the goal of, in the next year, we're going to get a plan together for South Airport.
Well, I applaud them. Let's talk about it now.
Yeah. And that's, I think the thing is, like, now it's on everyone's mind of like, oh, we almost lost its road. I think it's fresh in the public's imagination. Like, this is the time to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Garfield Township. Can we talk a little bit about that? I would say it's kind of a controversial subject about the pilot ordinance.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the township trustees this week, in addition to doing that South Airport Road Committee appointment, they approved a new ordinance for pilots. Pilots are already in place in many communities here in northern Michigan. Traverse City does them quite often. Garfield has done them before.
And that's payment in lieu of taxes.
Yeah. Okay. So the basic way to explain a pilot is it's essentially, it gives a tax break to developer in exchange for developing workforce or affordable housing.
Okay.
Instead of paying their normal property taxes, they pay a percentage of the rents to the municipality. It usually results in a pretty substantial tax break for the developer. But in exchange, the units that they're getting those tax break for the whole time they're getting the tax break, they have to be for a certain income range of tenant. So in Michigan, recent, legislative changes have made that kind of target range a 60 to 120% of the AMI. So Garfield Township was just trying to create a clear policy when developers come to apply for these tax breaks. Here's what we're looking to approve. Here's what we're not.
Okay.
They were up to 120% AMI to match the state law.
Okay.
There was a little discussion because Grand Traverse County, which has to approve these agreements as well, they go to the township or the city, and then they go to the county.
So it's a couple steps.
The county has decided they only want to support these kind of agreements if it's a maximum 100% AMI. Their thinking being that people who make more money are probably going to do more okay in the community for housing than the lower range.
Okay.
So they're trying to incentivize with tax breaks a lower range of incomes and felt maybe 120% was too high. So they're a little misaligned. The township eventually just decided, well, we want to match the state law. We're going to say 120. We'll send applications to the county. They'll approve them or they won't. It'll be kind of their call, I guess. And eventually maybe the county will change its policy and then we'll all be in alignment.
And go to 120%. I did see this is where I would say the controversy came in. A lot of folks saying, 120% of the area median income for one person is about $89,000 a year, which is, I would say is a pretty substantial income.
Yeah.
And yet, when you're talking about 100%, so the area median income, that's $74,000 for one person. So you are talking about higher salaries. It's that difficult to find housing here.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing is having covered housing quite a bit for many years in Traverse City. Even people who are making those range of incomes are struggling to find housing, and those are often the kinds of middle range professionals, your nurses. Some of that salary might be a little high for some educators, but others, especially at the collegiate level, might be more in there. Your firefighters, professionals who are in that higher range, they are having a hard time. People who are getting hired for high-level government jobs can't find housing that matches their salary range. So while we certainly have need at every level of income in the community, even people who would make what we would hope would be a comfortable wage, we have such a housing shortage here that they are also struggling. So I think Garfield Township's feeling was we need the housing at every level, so we're going to incentivize it at every level that we can. I would also let people know, because I saw a little misconception about this, I think there's sometimes cynicism about tax breaks for developers. I think Trailside 45 is an example of a project that people got cynical about because it was billed as workforce housing. It got changed to condos, and many of those are just short-term rentals now. That project did not have any government agreements in place like this. It didn't have any tax breaks. It did not have a pilot agreement. When you have those tax breaks in place, they are in writing. They're for a set number of years, usually 15. And if they ever don't gear those towards tenants in that income range, they lose a tax break. And that is annually verified. So we just want to be clear. I think that we had one project in Traverse City that unfortunately caused a lot of bad blood in the community. And people don't realize that the tax breaks we're talking about weren't part of that project. The reality is the market and land is so expensive in Traverse City that if we want housing that anyone can afford, including someone at 100 per 20% AMI, we're probably going to have to incentivize it in some way, or it's going to go to, way outside of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Or really, high-end condos.
Which we'll talk about later, but the land is expensive, so we got to do something.
We will talk about those high-end condos in just a moment, but right now, a word for our lead supporter, West Shore Bank. If you are looking for a checking account that does more for you, look no further than West Shore Bank. They've introduced new checking options designed to fit the way you live and the way you spend. With the Shoreline High Yield Checking, your money has the opportunity to work harder, earning more value just by using your account the way you already do. And the Shoreline Cashback Checking, you can get rewarded for everyday debit card purchases, like every time I buy flower bulbs or 12-foot skeletons, boom, rewarded. Because spending money should come with benefits. That's what I always say. Both accounts offer convenient digital banking, easy account access, and features that help you stay in control of your finances without unnecessary hassle. Plus, you're going to enjoy the personalized service of a community bank that's been here for generations, supporting the people and businesses right here in our community. So if you are ready to choose the checking account that fits your lifestyle, visit westshorebank.com or stop by any West Shore Bank branch to learn more and get started today. Terms, conditions, and qualifications apply. Third-party data rates may apply. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. And we are back. This time we are going to talk about hotels.
We sure are.
And we kind of left you on a cliffhanger there, talking about pilot programs for people who are part of the workforce, making $74,000. I think is the area median income for one person. I think it only jumps up to like $85,000 for a two-person household. Just to make that clear, but this project is not one of those pilot projects that is going to be targeting workforce. This is part of a reimagined, well, I guess we would call it a luxury waterfront development for Delamar. What is happening with the Delamar, formerly known as the Holiday Inn?
Yes, for those of us OGs who used to go back
Shimmers, baby.
Shimmers.
You all remember Shimmers. I know you do. You're going,
some of us are trying, we try not to remember, but the memories are there. So this story that we had, over the Memorial Day weekend, was really about two things. So Delamar was the first one. In downtown Traverse City, I talked to George Cochran, who's one of the partners of the Delamar, along with Charles Mallory. They are breaking ground in September on a new residential development that will be next to Sunset Park. So right now, essentially you have, they've got the Delamar Hotel, you've got this large parking lot, and on the edge of the parking lot next to the park is this parcel that they have not developed, that they are going to be developing.
Okay.
So they will be building this building, which is going to be called the Delamar Residences. We'll have 14 units in it. Starting, the lowest will be nearly $2.5 million, $2.4 million. So it kind of gives you an idea of the price range. These are luxury units. There will be ground floor parking in the building itself.
Okay.
And then there will also be a new full-service spa in this building that will be open to the public.
Okay.
Delamar has been looking for several years and has been wanting to add a spa to the hotel complex, but didn't have the right space for it, George told me. So it will be in this new building.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, so that will be an amenity that the public can use, not just the homeowners there. The homeowners will have, this is kind of a concept that George said has becoming more popular around the world, which is that high-end hotel brands, your Four Seasons, Ritz, that kind of thing. They will do these branded residences where, in addition to their hotel rooms, they will actually have, homes or units or condos you can buy that has like the Ritz brand on it. Nice. So this would have the Delamar brand on it. And the benefit of that is that you typically will get the hotel amenities as part of your home ownership.
Oh, kind of like that.
So in the Delamar's case, those homeowners will have access to the hotel pools, for example. Artisan is right there for dinner. So they will be able to, he said they're trying to appeal to, and if you think about the waterfront property that's available in Traverse City, there's not much, especially on the Bay. Yeah. Most of it is public property or existing hotels in the city of Traverse City. In this case, he said the appeal is there are a lot of people who would like something smaller, for that price range, instead of buying a huge mansion on the lake, God forbid, a problem we'd all love to have. But some people, especially as they get older, it's a lot of upkeep for a big house. They would rather have something right downtown where they can walk to things downtown. They can have the hotel support. There's like a concierge for them to help them.
Right on the water.
They're right on the water, but it's a smaller unit. And it's kind of everything self-contained right there. So the support services are part of the appeal of that.
Smaller unit, but still, the configurations are anywhere from 1,600 to like just over 2,000 square feet, which is, for a lot of folks, it's like, well, that's my house,
Yeah. And I just will let folks know based on the, because the story was earlier in the week. So we've seen a lot of comments since then. There's always a lot of, I would say, mixed emotions about luxury units in a market where you're having a housing struggle. I will just mention that George Cochran, the partner in this project, is also the partner in a lot of manufactured home communities.
Yes,
we had a conversation, and he does care about housing at all levels.
Yes.
So we did talk about that. But in this case, you're just likely, the reality is you're not going to build affordable housing on some of the most expensive land in Traverse City. Even the ones that we were talking about earlier often need that tax break to make it work, even just in Garfield Township, for example.
Right.
So that's what it's zoned for. It is zoned for housing like this. Sunset Park will not be touched. The city of Traverse City still has Sunset Park. So if you like swimming or going to the beach there, that is not impacted by this project. They are trying to, the trickiest balance for them is not upsetting their hotel guests during the peak season with construction noise.
Yeah.
So they're starting right after Labor Day. They will be building that building through Memorial Day next year. And then they're hoping by Memorial Day it'll be enclosed. So then when the crowds come next year to the hotel, they'll be working inside the building with the goal of opening it in the fall of 2027.
Well, I have to say, I mean, even at a price tag on $2.4 million, you look at these waterfront houses, I mean, they're well over $2.4 million if you're actually having any sort of, shared frontage of any kind. So, and being right in the heart of downtown, I'm like, with all the money I make,
right.
you start to look at things and you're like, well, that's actually a pretty good price.
It's not out of the range of what I've seen for other luxury condos downtown that are not on the water, that might be near the water, have water views, but are not directly on the water as this property is. The only other public aspect of this I will mention to keep an eye on that, I've been monitoring for a couple years, Delamar has been hoping to add a marina to that property. They did try to go through a zoning change at the city a couple years ago. The city ultimately didn't take action. The commission was divided on that. But they, George said it's something that he would really like to see at the property. He pointed to the years-long wait list at Clinch and other marinas, which is true. There is quite a bit of backup of waiting for slips. So no immediate plans. It has to go through a lot of regulatory approvals, but they are working on a marina for that property as well.
Yeah, that's, good to know as well. We had Art Bukowski in here talking all about boats.
Yes.
And how
the long wait.
Yeah, very long wait. Like basically you have a child, register that child for a slip immediately. By the time he's maybe 50, he'll get it.
Right.
You got to do that. Let's move up to Elk Rapids and talk about the reimagined Dexter Hotel, which has reopened its doors just this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, this hotel existed. It's been around for a couple of years, but it went through extensive renovations. So the reimagined is the word they're using for it now, because really it's true. The level of detail of what has been envisioned to upgrade the hotel is pretty significant. So we have in this partnership, there's a couple different hospitality groups, but the former creative director of Shinola is involved, Shore North Development and Kinship Hospitality. These are all the kind of partners. The Dexter has 29 rooms. One of the key things that has happened is pretty much every aspect of the hotel now features Michigan artists. That includes everything from custom furniture to the artwork that's on the wall. They did drapery with a Traverse City seamstress. They sourced all of their bowls and cups and trays and soap dishes from ceramicists in Traverse City. They have custom millwork on the reception desk and a noble lounge. So the press release and the photos I saw were quite beautiful. I mean, it's really now kind of a really upscale space, but really every aspect is Michigan artisans. The other main thing that's changed is Noble Lounge, which is the restaurant and bar.
I'm so excited about.
Yeah, so I think, there will be a new face there, but one who will probably be familiar to, I know you and I have both taken cooking classes through NMC Extended Ed, or if you've gone to Black Star Farms, you probably have run into John Cricky, who is the culinary instructor for many NMC Extended Ed classes. He's traveled all over the world, especially Italy and pasta.
Yes.
I've taken pasta classes with him, but he has been at Black Star Farms for a long time. He has left Black Star and will now be overseeing the kitchen at Noble Lounge in the Dexter. So they are going to be launching that new kitchen in mid-June. He spoke about having kind of a rotating menu of like 9 to 12 small plates that will be sort of seasonally based. He talked about bringing in cheese from Suttons Bay and Northport, having his handmade Italian pastas. He's got some Polish-inspired dishes, some Mediterranean. And then there's also a bar program at Dexter from Tony DeMaria, who used to be at Detroit Sugar House.
Which we love.
Great cocktail bar in Detroit. They really focused on kind of some interesting mixology techniques. But also, and I thought this, there's a lot of people now, the bar industry is shifting a lot. A lot of people are not drinking as much alcohol across all industries. Breweries are feeling this. Wineries are feeling this. So more and more you're seeing places offer more NA options or low ABV options.
Such a good idea.
Which is great because there are many sober people or sometimes even people who enjoy drinking. Just some days it's hot. You just want to have an NA drink. He did say that they will have a very robust NA program at the Noble Lounge.
That's really great. So this is, first of all, we have a friend of the show, Gary Gatsky, who's on our Food Fight episodes, loves Shinola.
Yeah.
I feel like Gary's just going to move to
Shinola is real fancy.
Yes. He loves the Shinola brand. He loves, this is just giving us all the feels for going up to do an Elk Rapids trip. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Love that. All right. Anything else before we get into what we're looking forward to?
I
think miss
that's
anything?
it. No, this is it. Just summer. Summer's kicking in.
Right? It's here. It's going to be June, in a couple of days.
I know.
I forgot what day it was. So
in one of those days soon. It'll be June.
What are you looking forward to this week?
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. I think the main thing, well, first of all, just personally, my niece is graduating on Sunday from Grand Drivers Academy.
Big deal. This is the first, you have
Ella.
2 nieces and 2 nephews.
I do. She's the oldest, so I cannot believe that she's graduating high school. My sister is having a meltdown every day.
Good.
Because her babies.
I did the same thing with my babies, and when I see someone who doesn't have a meltdown, I'm like,
what's wrong with you?
No, it's not. It's some that, but I'm like, oh, honey, you got to let it out.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come out.
So I'm very proud of her. It was like a very hot ticket to even get graduation tickets.
Did you make the list?
I did, and so did Joe, and we're going, so that's exciting. The other thing, though, I want to plug for the ticker is, so Recess, which we've talked about in the show, but this year we did a little bit different. We're only doing 4. We're doing them quarterly, but we're trying to make them really big and really fun.
I did notice that there's not as many.
Yeah, that was intentional. So instead of, they used to be monthly. Now they're going to be once a quarter. But like I said, kind of like a big fun, going all out. So our summer kickoff one, and the weather looks great next week, so it's going to be great. It's going to be in the bocce court area of the Commons, so back by Left Foot Charlie, where the piazza is.
Okay.
Outside in the sun. Lots of huge prizes. That's the other thing we're trying to do is giving away high value prizes. So we'll be giving away private village tours, village gift certificates. We have downtown shopping sprees. So these are several $100s in prizes.
And lots of them. That's
lots
crazy.
of them. Merchant gift baskets from different vendors around the village, a botanic garden gift basket. The other thing is that we will be having most of the food and beverage venues there participating. So you can get your drinks, which we get some drink tickets with your admission. Earth and Ales, Left Foot Charlie, O'Brien Vineyards, and then food from Red Spire, Pepinero, Cup of Joe, Pleasanton, Sugar Tussle, and Spanglish are all participating. You can play some bocce, listen to some music.
And do some networking.
do some networking outside in the sun. So that is Wednesday, June 3rd from 5 to 7 o'clock, $15 admission. And that does include food and some drink tickets.
I just put it in my calendar.
I'm going. I'll be there.
I'm going.
It's going to be great.
I'm gonna do stuff, guys.
And what about for you? What do you have coming up?
What am I excited
besides
about?
recess now?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go to recess next week. It's also your birthday next week.
It is my
so
birthday
I'm
next
excited about celebrating you on your birthday.
Thanks.
I'm also excited that I can plant my bulbs.
Yes.
I didn't do it because you told me to wait.
I think
this
you're okay
weekend
now.
I'm okay.
I think we're okay.
So I have 1 million bulbs. We all know. I got a little crazy and ordered like 600 gladiola bulbs and like 50 little roots of the hollyhock.
Oh, I love hollyhocks.
Yes, but that's a lot of hollyhocks.
That's going to be beautiful. And the weather looks gorgeous this weekend.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that this weekend. And yeah, I'm just going to appreciate that beautiful weather. Yeah, they're calling this back-end cold fronts, by the way.
Oh.
Where it doesn't get too cold and you just kind of don't even realize it until you're like, wait, I need a jacket.
Yeah.
So, but I just love when meteorologists come up with new terms like, hey, it's a backdoor cold front.
And you're like, I don't think that's,
Like,
I think you just made that up.
Nobody goes into the back door. Come on.
No one
like, go in
wants
the front door. What are you doing?
Yeah, no.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for another great episode of Currently. Make sure you check out everything that Beth writes and her colleagues at traversticker.com. If you hit subscribe, it's super easy. You get all of the news right in your inbox. Personally, I like news to come to me because I'm in charge. That's what I like. And also, speaking of, be sure to subscribe to our show on all of the platforms or just go to crystalfrost.com and you can subscribe to everything right there as well. Follow us on social media and subscribe to Currently with Crystal Frost wherever you get your podcasts. We're on your favorite platform. Easy peasy. You can also watch the full show on YouTube and on Facebook. Currently is a Compass Local podcast produced by Pancake Boy Productions in Traverse City, Michigan. Big thanks to our lead supporter, West Shore Bank, who really does believe in hyper-local podcasts. You can start saving today at westshorebank.com.